Hey guys, today me and a new person that I'm introducing to this channel, they're on my other channel, Ben, are going to be reacting to, well, I've already heard this album, but we're going to be splitting it up into multiple parts. Today we're going to react to the first song from David Bowie's most influential album, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. So I'm going to have him in the shot here because he's reacting to it. So this song, the first track is 5 Years. Here we go. Also, just to tell you, like, this song is basically about, like, if the Earth had 5 years left. So, like, it's about the Earth having 5 years left until the end of the world. That's what the song is about. So here we go.
Through the market square, so many mothers sighing. News had just come over. We had 5 years left to crying. News guy wept and told us Earth was really dying. Cried so much his face was wet. Then I knew he was not lying. I heard telephones, opera house, favorite melodies. I saw boys, toys, electric irons and TVs. My brain hurt like a warehouse. It had no room to spare. I had to cram so many things to store everything in there. And all the fat, skinny people, and all the tall, short people, and all the nobody people, and all the somebody people. I never thought I'd need so many people. Girl my age went off ahead, hit some tiny children. If the black hadn't pulled her off, I think she would have killed them. A soldier with a broken arm fixed his stare to the wheels of a Cadillac. The cop knelt and kissed the feet of a priest, and the queer threw up at the sight of that. I think I saw you in an ice cream parlor, drinking milkshakes cold and long, smiling and waving and looking so fine. Don't think you knew you were in the song. And it was cold and it rained, so I felt like an actor, and I thought of more, and I wanted to get back there. Your face, your race, the way that you talk, I kiss you, you're beautiful, I want you to walk. We got 5
Okay, I'm gonna start recording with my regular camera. So that was 5 years. What did you think? Like, give them a review.
First time I've heard of it. That's interesting.
Here, you hold the camera so you can talk to them.
Describing the people on the streets, and then kind of, I think what was most interesting for me is he leaves it hanging pretty raw. Like, he just says, that's 5 years, that's all we got. And then
at the end, you know how it sounded like he was crying?
Yeah, and it seems
in the song when he was performing, like he was actually crying in real life while singing it, because he believed like what he was saying.
That we only had 5 years left.
He believed what he was saying, so like he was crying while recording that last part, and also he did that song in one take. There were no demos. That was one take in the studio.
Wow. Yeah, I think that it ends a sense of kind of desperation. Like the notes, the music is very strained. Like you can hear that tense. The music is.
That's
tense.
How the album is supposed to go. The album is like basically about his persona, Ziggy Stardust from the 70s, coming down to Earth and giving, like, he's an alien that's supposed to give like the Earth hope to live. So it was like more of a concept album, and the album was supposed to tell a story.
And you can get into that more when we get to the other songs. But yeah, it begins on kind of a sharp place with it. We've only got 5 years left. And I think that a lot of people went through this idea that we were going to somehow blow up the Earth, or...
This album released in 1972, by the way, so it was like a pretty inspirational album. It's actually considered one of the most inspirational and, like, what is the other word for inspirational? Influential songs. It's considered one of the most influential albums of all time, along with the one Beatles album that's also considered very influential. Along with Bowie himself, he's considered one of the most influential artists and songwriters of all time. For how influential he was. So this was like his first big album that we're starting, and the second track I don't think was as popular. That will be after this one that we'll listen to in part 2. But yeah, the album was like a concept album to tell the story. It was really one of the first albums to bring the idea of an album telling a story. And then the thing that I think was very interesting, and that we all know, this I think was just blown out of proportion, that there was a theory about, so you know isn't he a rapper, Kanye West?
Kanye West?
Yeah.
Kanye. I think he's just going by K now or something like that, or Ye.
Kanye West. So there was a theory that David Bowie is from the future, and him and Kanye West were best friends in the future. Because in the album artwork for Ziggy Stardust, there was a sign on the building that said K West. And the first track on the album was called 5 Years. And the album was released in 1972, right? Guess who was born 5 years after that album released?
Kanye West?
Yes, so the people predict that he predicted him as like a singer. And then his final album was titled Black Star. And people think in the first track, which is also the self-titled track of the album, Black Star, talks about something happened on the day he died. Spirit rose in a meter and stepped aside. Which people think means that after David Bowie's death, that Kanye West will, like, take his place.
It's interesting. It seems to me, though, that's coincidence.
Well, and the building in the artwork was an actual place as well. It wasn't like a made-up place for the artwork. That was an actual place that Bowie took and put in his artwork, which is why that theory is put to rest, because the artwork is of an actual building in London. So
I wonder, so in this album he's saying 5 years. I wonder what would have changed if he knew, because this album is more than 50 years old now. If he knew that we as a species were going to get at least 50 more years, and that, like, he was going to die before the world ended. I wonder.
And, like, what people had said was as well, like, the song sounds out of its time, so it doesn't, like, feel like it would actually be real, but if you think about it, there isn't really any lyrics that indicate that it's in the 70s.
Yeah, I was trying to think about anything. No, it's not really specific to the 70s.
There's no specific things that would.
I'm trying to think of what was happening at that point. I mean, there was a lot of worries about the Cold War. You know,
Yeah.
The United States had nuclear weapons. Russia did too. I think '69 was the. Have you heard of the Cuban Missile Crisis?
Mm-mm.
Russia at one point decided. I think Fidel Castro in Cuba. Cuba is just like southeast of Florida. It's not that far. And I think he had asked at one point for nuclear weapons to protect him from America. And so the Russians were sending them. And the U.S. sent ships to like block the ships. And it was a huge standoff. People were afraid that America and Russia would go to war. But Russia backed down. And we didn't go to war. But people were really concerned at that time that at some point someone was going to unleash, nuclear destruction on the earth.
What I like how David Bowie did with this album as well is how each track just gets better and better and better on the album. And the tracks also just get more energetic as they go. Like the first one is pretty calm, and then the second one will ramp up a bit. And then the third one definitely ramps up the energy more with a Moon Age Daydream. And I like how they speed up the energy as it goes through the tracks on the album.
All right, well, maybe we'll listen to another one.
All right, before we go off of part 1, rate the first track out of 10.
I wouldn't rate it that high. I think probably a 5.
The album does get better, so.
Because as he was saying this, like, a lot of people do have just 5 years left to live. Like, some people get news from their doctor and for them the world is ending, right?
Yeah.
So it does end. The world does end for people every day, every few years. And I thought the song wasn't really about anything else, just about the world possibly ending. Maybe I missed it, but
if you get more into the tracks, you'll understand why that was there, because later, it brings Ziggy Stardust into the picture of the story, which he's supposed to be like the thing that gives them hope that the world won't end. Like, he's there to tell them, hey, I'm the symbol of hope, and I'm going to save the world. So he's supposed to be an alien that knows it's happening.
Well, so, that makes sense to me that this song doesn't really resolve itself. It kind of opens the door to something coming. So that's pretty cool. How would you rate this one?
It's not my favorite from the album. It is one of them, but it's not my biggest favorite, which is, I think the third track is my favorite. I do really like Moon Age Daydream. Most people choose Rock and Roll Suicide, but it's not my favorite track from it. I don't think it's my favorite because it isn't as energetic as Moon Age Daydream is. And I love the instrumental work on Moon Age Daydream. I just think Rock and Roll Suicide's instrumental was just a little plain. It just felt like a guitar and a little bit of drums, and it didn't feel as much as that should have been. And then the other one I know people choose to rank at number 1, maybe, I don't know how many people do, is probably Starman. That's another one that's not one of my all-time favorites from the album, but I think it's a good song itself. So I think we'll only do 3 tracks from the album for today. So yeah, bye guys.